Hmm.
Hi friends, this is Dr. Anil Kumar Vangani, Professor, Department of Repertory. Today I am going to discuss about repertory of antisoric and not antisoric. We know Dr. Bonigasan is the father of repertory. He first of all introduced the ever first repertory which was successful in homeopathy, that is the repertory of medicine which are antisoric in the year 1832, of which the second edition was published in the year 1833. We know Dr. Hahnemann himself admired this repertory, used this repertory, and even wrote introduction of this repertory in which he tells how to use this repertory. Now, this repertory was translated by Dr. C.M. Boger from second German edition of Antisoric Repertory, which was published in the year 1833, and the Repertory of Medicine which are not antisoric, which was published in the year 1835. So this repertory, this translation is a combination of both of these repertories. It was published in the year 1899 in Parkersburg, West Virginia, United States. This repertory is very useful. It was so admired because Hahnemann himself wanted to get a repertory which is based on miasm. So it was the first repertory based on miasm. So we would like to know about Dr. Bonigason, who created this repertory. First of all, he was born in Netherlands in the year 1785. He got the degree of Doctor of Civil and Criminal Law. He was an analytical person. He devoted much time developing the state agriculturally. He was having special interest in botany and also published a book on botany, Prodromus Flori Monastriensis. And he was the director of Botanical Gardens of Munster. So he was having interest in medicinal plants also. Therefore, it was easy for him to study homeopathy. He was not a doctor, he was a lawyer. Still, he was able to study homeopathy. In 1827, he himself suffered from purulent tuberculosis. At this time, he wrote a farewell letter to his close botanical friend, Dr. A. Wiehe, who was the first homeopathic physician in the province of Rhineland-Westphalia. Wiehe treated Bonigason with homeopathic remedy pulsatilla. And after being cured with pulsatilla, Dr. Bonigason became so interested in homeopathy that he was in close relation with Hahnemann himself until master's death. Bonigason quickly realized that there is a necessity of indexing the symptoms of our materia medica, as it is very broad. It is very difficult to remember all the symptoms all the time. So he says that fact caused me, even at the beginning of my study of this excellent, invaluable treatment, to think of expedients which make choice of suitable remedy easier. So he felt the indexing. He felt to index the medicines in the very beginning of his practice. First repertory which honored Bonigason as the father of repertory is the repertory of medicine which are antisoric. It was published in the year 1832, as I have already told. It was translated from second German edition by Dr. C.M. Boger, and of which the number of chapters are 90. The number of remedies which are included in this repertory are 52. In India, it was published by B. Jain Publishers. The gradation of remedies given in the repertory are 5. The first grade is given as spaced italics. We are talking about first edition of the repertory. Second grade as italics. Third grade as spaced Roman. Fourth grade as Roman. And fifth grade is given as Roman in parentheses. Whereas in second edition, it was changed and it was given as the first grade as capital bold, second grade as Roman bold, third grade as italics, fourth grade as Roman, and fifth grade as Roman in parentheses. So the typography was changed in the second edition, which is followed till now. This is about construction of the repertory. Now the contents of the repertory, we get translator's preface in the beginning, preface to the second edition, preface to the first edition, which were written by Bonigason. Now this introduction. Introduction part is given by Dr. Henneman. Then the intercurrent remedies in chronic disease, review of antisoric remedies, repertory of antisoric remedies proper. This is the repertory proper in the book, repertory of the antisoric remedies. Then the indexing is given in the last. So this is construction of the book. Then about translator's preface, there is written that every repertory is useful. Unfortunately, not one is complete. And this one offers the best guide for the selection of the most suitable remedy in chronic diseases. Hence, I am doing its translation. This was stated by Dr. C.M. Boger in Translator's Preface. In Preface to second edition, it is given that in this section, Boger mentions about the popularity of homeopathy. He mentions drug added in second edition, also about the changes that occur after administering a similar remedy. What happens after administering a similar remedy? In preface to the first edition, Dr. Boger mentions, initially this repertory was limited to remedies mentioned in the first 3 volumes of Animal Chronic Diseases. But when he found this little repertory useful, he added the leading remedies in the 4th volume of Chronic Diseases. Dr. Ruckert and others who possessed copy of this repertory, they found it useful and they urged Dr. Bonigason repeatedly to put this little work into print. Thus, Dr. Bonigason undertook this laborious work to print. To attain the object of completeness and ease in consultation, a strictly alphabetical succession beside the systematic order was necessary. So Dr. Henneman's choice was construction of alphabetical repertory and a miasmatic repertory. This repertory represents both of them. So he used different typography for the remedies. Roman in parentheses are doubtful remedies. Roman remedy indicates symptoms that have been confirmed in practice. Whereas spaced Roman indicates the symptom which the remedy refers is a repetition of its primary action. Italics are used where the result of the actual experience has unquestionably confirmed the already ascribed curative power of the remedy. Spaced italics are used where these results have repeatedly followed by its application. So spaced italic is the first grade, italics is the second grade. Now, introduction which was given by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann is on the repetition of the homeopathic remedy. The homeopathic physician should generally let the carefully selected remedy to act upon the patient in a single dose at a time and allow it to exhaust its action. Never ever interfere with the action of given remedy. A single dose is sufficient, especially in certain mild diseases, particularly in of children and delicate and susceptible persons. But in chronic and highly developed cases, often spoiled through previous unsuitable remedies, often the material remedies given by allopathic science, and also in grave acute diseases, such a single dose is not sufficient. Here, Hahnemann allows repetition of the remedy. But repeating frequently may cause vital force to expel this hostile overdose of medicine by means of vomiting, diarrhea, fevers, fat. There can be severe aggravation. Action of medicine through inhalation is equal to that of medicine taken orally. So this is another route of administering the medicine. Now, about expiry date of medicines. One globule, 10 to 20 of which weigh a grain, moistened with 30th potency and then dried, retains its full power for at least 18 to 20 years if protected from heat and sunlight. So heat and sunlight especially destructs its action. Even if the vial is opened as many as 1,000 times, its action is preserved. Now about the intercurrent remedy in chronic diseases. Here it tells or it states about use of coffee where too great sensitiveness and painfulness is there. Use of hepatic sulf, alternative with nitric acid where there is history of the abuse of mercury. Use of magnetus arcticus, it's very important. It can be used where there is excessive irritation of the nervous system, brain, where you have to calm the patient. Then mesmerism for nervous persons in general. Nux vomica to be given where the nervous system is irritated, hypersensitive, anxiety is there. Opium to be given where there is sensitiveness of the nervous system, but there is deficiency in reaction of the vital force. Pulsatilla alternative with nux vomica for ameliorating the irritability. Now, interruption of antipsoric cure. Here, Boningason or Boger suggests that anger with indignation is there, then you can use staph sagria. Anger causing internal concealed vexation, you can use ignatia. Anger with wrath, violence, heat, you can use chamomilla. Hernia, so often descended generally, then you can use nux vomica. Homesickness is there with red cheeks, sleeplessness at night, capsicum can be given intermittently. Unhappy love with inward grief, ignatia can be given. Unhappy love with jealousy, hyoscyamus can be given as intermittent. This will clear the obstacle in your cure. So that's how they suggest intermittent use of various remedies to clear the action of previously given remedies. Then in case of bruises and wounds, if there is some obstacle in cure, arnica can be given. In case of fright with vexation, aconite can be given. In case of weakness after loss of fluids, china can be given. In case of cold catching in general, where patient is frequently getting cold, nux vomica can be given intermittently. Where there is diarrhea, cold followed by diarrhea, dulcamara can be given. Where there is dyspnea, attacks of recurrent, then ipecac can be given. If there is dyspnea followed by fever and heat, aconite can be given. If there are sprains, overlifting, such history, then arnica or Rustox can be given. If there is intoxication after wine, nux vomica is a better remedy to be given as intercurrent dose. So that's how we can clear the interruption of the cure by antipsoric medicines, by the use of such medicines which are also antipsoric. So in this repertory, they have mentioned 50 remedies which are antipsoric. Here they are. There are 50 antipsoric remedies in the repertory and only one antisyphilitic remedy, that is Merck Vivus, and only one antipsychotic remedy, that is Thuja occidentalis. The remedies are arranged alphabetically. Each remedy is described with their abbreviation, name, common name, source, duration of action, antidote, and so on. So at that time only a few remedies were available. So they are as follows, from agaricus, alumina, ammonium carb up to sulfur, sulfuric acid, zincum matte. These are antipsorics. So 50 number of antipsoric remedies were there. Then amongst the antisyphilitic, only Merck Vivus. Amongst the antipsychotic remedy, only Thuja was available at that time. So after that, so many medicines have been discovered, like we use medorinum as a nosword, antipsychotic nosword, cephalinum as antisyphilitic nosword. So many discoveries were there, but at that time only these remedies were available. So it is very primitive repertory, but it was used by Dr. Hahnemann himself, and he admired this repertory so well. So these antipsorics also include japhides, lycopodium, natrum carb, natrum mute, you can see phosphorus, stannum, salacia, sinega, sulfuric acid, arsenicum album, Carbovegetables, Boricum acidum, Belladonna, Digitalis. So 50 number of antipsoric remedies were there. Now about the repertory of antipsoric remedies proper. This was the first foremost repertory published so far in the year 1832. Before that, no repertories were published because Hahnemann discovered a few repertories, but he was himself not satisfied with them. Bonigesson gave locations in general, comparatively only in fewer parts of anatomy. In sections like head, abdomen, upper and lower extremities, he has given locations. Other than it, there in no other chapters he has given locations. Now, for example, in the chapter head internal, he has given location like forehead, temple, vertex, sensations like alive sense, ball-like sensation, then aggravations like from air, from cold, amelioration, and time modalities. The sequence of aggravation, amelioration, time, concomitant is changed from section to section. So no definite order is followed. This is a shortcoming of this repertory. The index part of the repertory is given in the last part of the book. Here it is arranged in alphabetical order, given with page number, and if rubric at multiple places, its chapter and subheadings sections are also given. Now, advantages of using this repertory. It is the first repertory which was published. It has got a valuable introduction which was given by Master Hahnemann himself and has told about the repetition of the remedy. Duration of action and expiry date of homeopathic medicines are given. It is progenitor of the later published repertories in homeopathy. Even if Bonigesson follow the theory of grand generalization, a well-represented mind chapter is there in this book, which has got 167 rubrics. Whereas, in case of Bonigesson Therapeutic Pocket Book, only 16 rubrics are there. Here, 167 rubrics are there. The rubrics are arranged in alphabetical order in different chapters. In most places, there are 5 grading of the remedies, but in some places there is a 6th grade also, which is given as, you can see here in question mark. Each chapter has subsections in relation to time, aggravation and amelioration, but not concomitants. So this is a limitation, that concomitants are given only in few chapters. The number of remedies are very less, only 52. Time is given as morning, forenoon, afternoon, evening, night, and not as alphabetical order. And there is no index for the remedies. So these are the shortcomings of the book, which becomes a limitation of this repertory. Other shortcomings are that each chapter ends by underline, which is not often visible, so it creates confusion. The arrangement of the chapters is very confusing since there is no definite font for the chapter and the subchapters. We cannot define that the chapter starts from here. The sequence of aggravation, amelioration, time, concomitant is changed from section to section. So there is no definite pattern. Tips for using Bonigesson repertory. Try to choose big rubrics always over the small. The modalities patient give first is probably the most important. In Bonigesson work, always pay attention or importance to modalities. If 2 remedies are close, the past medical history will give you the choice. It will give you an indication to differentiate between them. Ask about symptoms during puberty or pregnancy. If a remedy comes first in repertorization and the remedy doesn't work, always try a higher potency. Often a remedy for an acute condition also helps in chronic complaints. Remedy to second, third, fourth, they can be later used if there is some indication. The Boger-Bonigesson repertory is based on aphorism 95 of Organon, which says chronic patients become so accustomed to prolonged suffering that they no longer pay they means patient. Patient no longer pay much attention to these symptoms. They have nearly forgotten how health really feels. If it hardly matters or it hardly occurs to them that these less troublesome symptoms, which are greater or lesser deviations from health, are the key to choosing the remedy. So these are accessory symptoms which the patients are suffering, but they are not paying attention to them because they have become accustomed to them due to prolonged suffering. So in Boger-Bonnigasson method, mental and emotional changes are the last to be taken into account, but not the least. They become the differentiating factor. They are just like eliminating factor in Kant's method. So mentals are paid much importance in Bonnigasson method. In Boger-Bonnigasson method, when you have narrowed down two remedies, you use the mental and emotional symptoms to differentiate. Here they become as eliminating. So never ever think that mental symptoms are paid less importance. Thanks a lot to be patient and listening to the lecture. All the best.